It's okay to feel lost right now. Not know where you're going or where you came from or what's going to happen tomorrow or any of that. It's okay to feel lost. Everybody does from time to time. I know when I was a kid, I always thought that my parents knew everything. They had it all figured out because most of the time, they always had an answer for something. And because I could go to them with any question I had, and they always had some type of answer for me, I just assumed that once you become an adult, that's just how it was. Adults knew things. Adults were smart. And there's some truth to that. But it's not the way that a lot of us probably thought it was going to be when we were kids. You know, it's wild to think that when you were a kid, you wanted to get older. You wanted to be an adult. You wanted to be a firefighter or a doctor or an astronaut or whatever other type of job or fantasies we had of what being adult was like. And then for many of us, we get to adulthood and we want nothing more than to be able to be a child again. For a lot of us, maybe we had rough childhoods. And as adults today, we are living and maybe working through certain traumas that we experienced when we were younger. You know, maybe for a lot of us, our childhoods were robbed and we're in our late 30s and we still feel like we're a teenager because that time of our life got stolen from us for one reason or another. And maybe because of those things is why we feel lost. But the beautiful thing about a lot of things in life, and I've learned a lot of this from my study of the martial arts over the past year, is that everything is a journey. So even though you might feel lost, and maybe you are, it's all a part of this journey you're taking. You know, if you've ever driven a car somewhere and maybe you took a wrong turn and you got lost, eventually you ended up at the right destination, hopefully. You know, when you go to some new place, you don't know your way around, so you try to figure that out. And if you get lost, a lot of times you'll ask for directions. So it's okay to feel lost right now. And if you do, maybe you just need to ask somebody for some directions. Maybe you can ask yourself that. Maybe journaling is one of those processes that you can go through to help yourself become unlost. And maybe you want to be lost. We can take everything that happens in our lives and turn them into learning experiences. Sometimes it's hard to see that, especially when you're in a tough time and you just don't know what's going on and you don't know how to make it from one day to the next. Sometimes you just want to go into some hole and just kick and scream or cry, express yourself in some way. But I think a lot of times we become lost because we lose clarity. We lose sight of things. And that's one thing that I really advocate for in journaling and why it's important to write all this stuff down. It's not just so that you can record all the entries of your life, whether they're mundane or bad or good or whatever it is, but it's so you can get those thoughts and those processes onto paper so that way you can help yourself figure out where you are. I consider my journals maps. And they're not always like maps of where I want to go, and they're mostly maps of where I've been. But you can write about those future ideas and thoughts that you have. But more importantly, this hones you into this present moment. Because a lot of times we feel lost because we don't really understand where we've come from, and we really don't know what the future holds. But if you stop focusing so much on that unforeseeable future, that unknown, that hasn't even happened yet, by the way, and may not happen, unless it's something you want to happen, then hopefully it will. But the point is, it's okay to feel lost. You just need to acknowledge it and make it a part of the journey. You don't have to have everything figured out all the time. You don't always have to know where you're going or who's going to call you tomorrow or all these things. Sometimes taking a step back from things, not taking so much in, give yourself a moment to breathe and find that peace and clarity is going to help a lot. And journaling is a great place to start. I'll say it one more time. It's okay to be lost. And no matter where you are on your journey right now, I wish you the best success. And as always, be sure to create something new today.